Your engine is choking to death right now, not next year, not at 200,000 miles, right now. There is a thick, tar-like substance building up inside your engine block at this very moment. It is coating your oil passages. It is smothering your bearings. It is trapping heat against your cylinder walls like a blanket wrapped around a furnace. Your dashboard will not warn you. Your oil light will not flash. By the time you feel the symptoms, the damage is already thousands of dollars deep. And here is what nobody at the dealership will ever tell you. The oil change schedule you have been following religiously your entire life was never designed to prevent this. It was designed to manage it just enough to keep you coming back. There is a single tablet sitting on a shelf at your local grocery store right now that dissolves hardened engine sludge from the inside out. It costs less than $1. You drop it into warm oil and it goes to work in minutes. Industrial chemists identified this compound's solvent properties back in the 1950s. Heavy equipment operators in mining and agriculture used it off the books for decades to flush diesel engines between major overhauls. A lab test affiliated with the Society of Automotive Engineers in 2004 showed this compound broke down petroleum carbon deposits 3 times faster than commercial engine flush products that cost between $15 and $40 per bottle. A fleet manager running over 200 delivery trucks shared on a trade forum that switching to this method cut his annual engine maintenance budget by 40% across every truck in his operation. 1 tablet, under $1, and results that made $40 products look like expensive water. So if it works this well, why has nobody told you about it? Because every major oil and additive brand on the planet generates revenue from a problem that would nearly disappear if this information ever spread to mainstream car owners. Valvoline, Pennzoil, Castrol, every single one of them sells engine flush products retailing between $12 and $40 per bottle. Their premium synthetic oils marketed with sludge-fighting additives cost $10 to $14 per quart. Valvoline alone loses roughly $180 in flush treatments and premium oil upsells every single time one car owner learns this method and stops buying their products. A car that does not build sludge does not need premium detergent oil. An engine that stays clean internally does not need $800 flush services at the dealership. The entire sludge treatment industry depends completely on you never finding what is already sitting on a store shelf for under $1. Now let me take you back to where this actually started. In the early 1950s, petrochemical engineers studying solvent behavior under heat made an observation that should have changed automotive maintenance permanently. They found that certain aromatic hydrocarbon compounds had an unusual and very specific ability to penetrate and dissolve polymerized petroleum residue. That is the scientific term for what every mechanic in the world calls sludge. Sludge forms when engine oil breaks down under heat and oxidation over thousands of miles. It starts as a thin varnish layer on internal surfaces. Over time, that varnish hardens into a near-solid deposit that chokes oil passages and starves critical engine components of lubrication. Most solvents powerful enough to dissolve those deposits are far too harsh for engine internals. They attack rubber seals. They strip protective coatings. They destroy gaskets and cause leaks that cost more to fix than the sludge itself. But this particular compound operated in an extremely narrow chemical sweet spot. It was aggressive enough to soften and break apart carbonized oil deposits at operating temperature, yet chemically mild enough to leave rubber seals, gaskets, and metal surfaces completely undamaged at the concentrations needed for engine treatment. Heavy industry discovered this long before any car owner ever had the chance to. Mining operations across Australia and Western Canada during the 1960s were using it routinely to flush hydraulic systems in excavators and haul trucks between service intervals. Logging companies in the Pacific Northwest added it to diesel crankcase oil before seasonal equipment storage during winter months. Those engines sat dormant in freezing conditions for months at a time and came back to life in spring with internals that looked cleaner than engines running year-round on premium oil. The compound worked quietly in these industries for years without a single automotive brand ever acknowledging its existence publicly. By the 1970s, independent automotive researchers began asking a very specific question. Why were certain fleet operators reporting significantly lower engine rebuild rates than the industry average? A study conducted in 1974 at a Midwestern Technical Institute tested 6 common engine flush methods on identical test engines run under controlled sludge-producing conditions. Short trips, low RPM driving, extended idle time. Everything that creates maximum sludge buildup in a real-world engine, the compound outperformed every commercial flush product in the test, without a single exception. Sludge mass remaining inside the engine after treatment was 78% lower than the leading commercial engine flush on the market. Oil passage flow rates returned to within 94% of factory new specifications. The study was published in an industry technical journal and cited in subsequent research for years. Then the real wave of evidence started building in the 1990s and 2000s. Independent mechanics running forums and early online communities began documenting their results with photographs, before and after valve cover images that showed the difference in black and white. Engines caked with hardened deposits before treatment. The same engines after treatment showing metal surfaces clean enough to read part numbers stamped into the casting. Used oil analysis labs started seeing a pattern they could not ignore. One of the most respected independent labs in the country, Blackstone Laboratories, was receiving oil samples from customers who mentioned using this treatment. Those samples consistently showed lower metal wear particles and dramatically reduced contaminant levels compared to baseline samples from the same engines before treatment. The results held across engine types, mileage ranges, and oil brands. The data was not anecdotal anymore. It was measurable, repeatable, and consistent. And yet, the auto maintenance industry never acknowledged any of it. Not once, not in any official capacity. The reason was never technical. The reason was purely structural. The auto maintenance industry in America generates over $300 billion annually. Engine sludge alone drives a massive sub-economy that touches every car owner in the country. Premium oil sales marketed specifically around sludge prevention. Engine flush services at quick lube chains priced between $89 and $200 per visit. Dealer-recommended fuel system cleanings bundled with maintenance packages, and ultimately premature engine replacements when sludge damage accumulates past the point of affordable repair. Entire engines replaced at $4,000 to $8,000 because of a problem that a $1 treatment could have prevented entirely. No company held a secret meeting to suppress this. The mechanism was subtler than that and far more effective. Oil companies invested hundreds of millions in marketing that positioned their premium products as the only real solution to sludge. Quick lube chains trained their technicians to upsell engine flush services using fear-based language about sludge damage during routine oil changes. Dealerships added engine detox packages to their service menus at $150 to $400 per treatment. The message from every direction was the same: sludge is complex, sludge is dangerous. Only professional products and professional service can deal with it properly. Do not try anything on your own. Meanwhile, the compound sat on pharmacy shelves and in grocery store aisles, never once mentioned in any manufacturer service bulletin, any oil company marketing material, or any dealership recommended maintenance schedule. Not because it was untested, not because it was dangerous, because it cost less than $1 and worked better than everything they were selling. A retired ASE certified mechanic in Ohio who ran a small independent shop for 35 years wrote in a 2018 automotive forum post that he had been recommending this compound to customers with high mileage engines since the early 1990s. He described pulling valve covers off engines at 200,000 plus miles and finding internals that looked cleaner than engines with half that mileage on them. His exact words were that in 35 years of professional engine work, he had never found anything that matched it for the price. A truck owner running a 2004 Ford F-150 with 280,000 miles on the original engine posted used oil analysis results online showing that metal wear particles in his oil had dropped to levels typically seen in engines under 50,000 miles. That was after only 6 months of periodic treatment. A diesel mechanic in Alberta servicing fleet vehicles for oilfield companies said in a 2020 interview with a trade publication that every engine he treated came back with cleaner oil samples at the next interval, without exception. These are not paid testimonials. These are not sponsored posts. These are real people documenting real results in places that oil companies cannot control or take down. Here is exactly what to do to protect your engine starting right now. The compound is naphthalene, the active ingredient in standard mothballs. You can buy a box at any Walmart, Home Depot, CVS, Walgreens, Dollar General, or any grocery store with a cleaning and laundry aisle. A single box costs between $1 and $3 and contains more than enough for multiple full engine treatments. One critical distinction before you buy: you need naphthalene mothballs specifically, not paradichlorobenzene mothballs. Those are the other common type, and they will not produce the same result. Check the active ingredient on the packaging. It will say either naphthalene or paradichlorobenzene. You want naphthalene. That is the aromatic hydrocarbon solvent that does the actual work inside your engine. Start by warming your engine to full operating temperature. Drive normally for 5 to 10 minutes, then park and open the hood. Remove the oil filler cap on top of the engine. Drop 2 to 3 naphthalene mothballs directly into the oil filler opening. Replace the cap. Now let the engine idle for 20 to 30 minutes. Do not rev it. Do not drive. Just let it idle. The heat and oil circulation will dissolve the naphthalene completely into the oil, where it begins softening and breaking apart sludge deposits throughout the entire engine. After idling, drive gently for 50 to 100 miles over the next day or two. Normal city or highway driving, no hard acceleration, no high RPM runs. Just let the compound work through the system naturally, then perform a complete oil and filter change. The old oil will come out dark, possibly much darker than you have ever seen from your engine. That darkness is dissolved sludge, leaving your engine permanently. For heavily sludged engines with over 100,000 miles or irregular oil change history, repeat the treatment one more time with the fresh oil. Drop 2 more mothballs in, idle again, drive another 100 gentle miles, and change the oil and filter a second time. After that, the treatment is complete. One honest note here before we close. This compound is not a miracle product. If your engine has already suffered bearing damage from oil starvation caused by severe sludge blockage, naphthalene will not rebuild that bearing. If sludge has already clogged an oil passage so completely that a section of your engine overheated and warped the metal, this will not unwarp it. This is a solvent. It dissolves deposits. It is not a time machine that reverses mechanical damage already done. The real power is entirely in prevention and early intervention. An engine treated at 60,000 miles before sludge has time to harden into solid deposits will never develop the kind of buildup that kills engines at 120,000. And even on high mileage engines where sludge has already formed and hardened over years of neglect, this treatment can restore enough oil flow and passage clearance to add years of reliable service to an engine most mechanics would tell you needs replacing. If you want absolute confirmation that the treatment is working, send an oil sample to a lab like Blackstone Laboratories before your first treatment and another sample after. Their analysis costs about $30, and it will show you the difference in metalware particles and contaminant levels in black and white numbers you can trust. Your engine is building sludge right now while you watch this. Every mile you drive with restricted oil passages is accelerating where that did not need to happen. The compound cost $1. The knowledge you just received costs nothing. What costs thousands is not knowing this exists and continuing to pay $40 for premium oil and $180 for engine flush services that accomplish less than a product sitting in the laundry aisle at your grocery store. If this information changes how you maintain your engine, subscribe right now and share this with someone you know who is about to spend money they do not need to spend. Every share reaches one more car owner who breaks free from the cycle of manufactured maintenance dependency that has been draining money from drivers for over 50 years. The next video will reveal another method the industry has kept out of public knowledge, something the tire industry does not want you to know about a common product that dramatically extends tread life for almost nothing. That one drops soon. Subscribe so you do not miss it.